What's up, YouTube? This is Brian at the Movies here, bringing you guys a new movie review. Today I'm reviewing Mousetrap, or aka Mickey Mousetrap, Mickey's Mousetrap, but a change to Mousetrap. I'm assuming that's just due to copyright thing. Like, I don't think they can use Mickey. Well, they use it in the movie, so it's kind of weird. But I guess the title, they somehow for some reason couldn't use Mickey's Mousetrap because that was what it was titled for quite a while. But I don't know, there's probably something about it. But so this is directed by Jamie Blank. It's also starring and co-written by Simon Phillips, who plays Mickey Mouse in the film. Well, he plays two characters. He plays Mickey Mouse, but he plays another character that you'll have to watch the movie. But it's about it's about a teenager, or a girl who just turns 21. Her friends decide to come to her work for her birthday. And then eventually they get locked up and are attacked by Mickey Mouse, and now they have to find a way to escape, kind of thing. So it is a slasher Mickey Mouse movie. So it came out. So the Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse came to public domain January 1st this year, and they released the trailer, poster, everything for it. And then after there was another announcement for Steamboat Willie, which is now called Screamboat, which stars David Thornton, and is directed by the director of the Mean One, which also starred David Howard Thornton, but it's also produced by Michael Lewis, who's a producer of the Terrifier films, Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3. I don't think he was on the 1, but I think he was on 2 and now 3. And his new film, Stream, is coming out tomorrow. So this was a really interesting watch. So I'll come out and say this. I did not hate this movie, but also I'm going to say there is obviously weak spots to this movie. And I'll get to that. But what I did like, the acting performances, especially from the main protagonist, I think she did a really good job of I think she just did a good job of being likable, but also there's something like natural about her performance where she feels like she's, she feels like she's in the moment, or like it doesn't feel just, fake or just reading a script. There's something about her performance I really liked, and I liked her friend, who's not in the movie as much, but when she's there, I think they have good chemistry, and her attitude towards about working at Funhaven, it was really good. I think Simon Phillips did a good job as the character, her boss, that you see for a little bit. I think he does a good job. I think he has enough charisma there, and he is also the writer. So I think he did a good job there for that time. I think the look of Mickey, the mask, I thought was a little more creepier than I thought. I like the idea of it. There's one thing with it, I think it's noticeable in a couple of shots that I don't know if they did that on purpose, and I'm not going to assume they did it on purpose, or they just didn't think about that, or I don't know. But I'll get to it, and it's not that really a big of a deal, but I'll mention. But I think there's some really nice shots, especially towards the end, and they do use a little CGI, which they according to the director Jamie Bailey, that he's saying it's been a reported $800,000 budget, which you could take, or that's a lot less than the reported budgets for Blood and Honey and Blood and Honey 2, and they had a lot more. But again, these are two different films, particularly, especially Blood and Honey 2 is very different because they had a lot of prosthetic work, and they made those characters feel like the actual human animal hybrids compared to the first Blood and Honey. This was shot in 8 days as well, like how the first Blood and Honey was shot for 6 days, and then a couple more days I think for reshoots. I think there's some things I liked about the way it's shot, and I think because they shot it fast in 8 days, they shot this. The director said between September and October. So it's really tough. So, and when you do see some kills, especially the one toward, like, it's pretty cool, and you don't see it coming. But from what I've heard, I think that kind of pissed some people off. rub some people the wrong way, and the way they end it, and then they get, and I'll get to that. But I think so. Getting to so those are my big positives for the film. I think there's positives here to enjoy about this movie. So getting into the negatives, ultimately it just comes down to the pacing of this movie is just not great. Especially when you go back and forth with these cops and this one of the survivors of this, and she's telling them what happened and stuff like that, and it kind of ruins kind of the again, like, the pacing, and it just takes a while to get to it. And this is where I think where they shoot 8 days, they didn't have a big budget. They didn't have the budget. The director said the budget went mainly for actors and the setting, and because they had to rent out the Fun Haven place, which again, that just tells you they did not. And he said they didn't have a lot of money for makeup or like for the special effects. So for what they have, and I think he's being generous with calling it a 7 on the violence and the kills. I would say it's more of a 5, particularly because of one scene. Particularly, this movie could be more if they had a bigger budget, if they had more days to shoot, and a bigger budget. They needed probably another $500,000 probably for makeup and stuff to do a little bit more. They needed more because of the pacing. How really pacing of this film was not the best. And I don't like saying that because I never really have issues with pacing to a degree. But with this one, because it goes back and forth, and you don't get enough of the kills with Mickey. One more other thing. I do like the voice of Mickey when he's speaking, when the mask's on and stuff like that. The Mickey is speaking, and it's an evil spirit kind of thing. I really like that. I did like that. I like that. But now getting back into it. Some of the other actors that are not the main actress it's such a mixed bag, and it has more to do, honestly, with how the characters are written, or just the way they have to interact. It's more the interactions, and some of it has to do with relationship stuff, and it's just really awkward. And I know I know stuff like that is supposed to be awkward, but man, it's just some of these actors. I don't know if they have the experience of being on camera, and I hate even saying that, but it's just like, if you don't have that experience, so there's gonna be things about when you're trying to perform something like as you know, the thing we could all relate to is having relationship, awkwardness, but it just doesn't feel as natural, like where the main character and her friend are having a conversation where one doesn't want to do the work and the other one's trying to get the work done. You could see their performance. You could see them. It felt like a real friendship. But when you get to this awkward, likable, they get to a joke where they call one of the guy who actually likes the main character, oh, he has like he seems like a serial killer, like, and he's kind of awkward in that way. Sometimes he gets more, I think, comfortable towards the end, but still, like, it tries a little too hard on that, and that could be that was a little frustrating. Or again, it's just more awkward in when you get into relationship stuff or like that. It just, and some of them try too hard to make it to be like, the jock stuff. Now, the one scene in particular I don't care for in this movie is the scene with the 4 jocks. It's the way it's shot. It just feels really cheap. It's the cheapest looking thing in the movie, to be honest. Because the way it's angrily shot and just like, compared to everything else, I prefer like the scene in the jail cell. You could even say that's kind of awkward because when you're close up with the 2 cops instead of like back, like a little farther apart. But they do eventually go to that, but I understand that much more than in this bar that these 4 other guys. It just doesn't feel like it needs to be a bit more open. And I know, and they're trying to get close-ups and stuff like that, but it just, I don't know, the shot felt really cheap in that way. I don't know. And again, this might due to budget, and you can't shoot a certain way. with certain cameras. I get it. I understand. Like but I'm acknowledging what I see and what I see. Like, okay, I know I didn't care for that shot. There's a very interesting choice they make with Mickey that he's able to transport, and I say this more of a mixed element because I like that idea, but then it just feel. At first, I get why people might not like it, but at the point is with how Mickey is portrayed in here and how it's a spirit that's controlling this mask. I think I kind of spoil it, but I mean it's I hate spoiling it, but it is to make a point. But so the mask is. So Mickey is in the mask, or whatever, the spirit of Mickey is in the mask. So that's what makes it interesting, I think, and it's actually Mickey, and they're portraying it as actually Mickey, and not just the guy in the mask wearing a mask and he's not Mickey or something like that. So I think some people were probably thinking that was going to be the case, and the body is someone else, but the mask is the spirit of Mickey, and when Mickey comes after her, they're like, oh shit, it's Mickey Mouse. Mickey's trying to kill us. So it's not just like, hey, there's some, and then the acknowledgement of who is under that mask. Actually, we know there's a scene where you see the beard through the mask, and you're just like, okay, I think they should have hit that, but then again, it should have been obvious who was wearing that mask. But again, I don't think they don't ever. I know they're trying to make it not being him, it's just Mickey, but you know, you would think the other characters would know because he's wearing a certain jersey or wearing a certain shirt. They were thinking it's one of the friends, one of the jocks, their jock friends, and there's another character in the movie that wears something like that, that they even mention themselves. But yeah, that was a big. That's more of a nitpick, if anything. But the ending is definitely a very. I liked it. It was shocking, but the ending ultimately feels really cheap because it ends just right after that, pretty much. And you're just like, this does not build up to an end. That did not feel like the end. I know the effect they were trying to go for, but that does not feel like the end. I'm sorry. There needed to be more, and obviously they did not have They didn't have enough time. They shot this in 8 days. You know, you only get a certain amount, and you only have a certain amount of money. So ultimately, it probably comes down to that. They didn't have much time to get all that done, and they didn't have a lot of special practical effects. So you have to keep that in mind. But and I'm trying to be as fair as I can here about this because I don't want to be one of those people that hate everything. I enjoyed Blood and Honey, and I loved Blood and Honey 2 because I think that really improved on what the movie, what they really, and it showed what they really wanted to do with that concept. Again, they just didn't have the budget on the first one. Now this might have, and this technically has a bigger budget than. I think a bigger budget than the first Winnie the Pooh, and you can see. And I think what the biggest effect Blood and Honey did was they were able to shoot on location. They shot in the woods, so you have a really easy way where you don't have to. I don't know if they had to pay to be. I'm assuming there's something, but it's not like. And they had to use the houses and stuff like that. But it felt like that being able to have to be on the set instead of renting something like that. It feels like there's something different there. Why it looks. I mean, and they had a cinematographer that I think really knows how to shoot and knows how to get the effect of what a horror film or a certain aesthetic they're looking for in their films. I think this was shot fine, except for a couple shots in the film. But ultimately, this just comes down to this movie is just really paced badly, or it just felt really, really slow because they didn't have as many kills as you wanted. It makes it even slower, especially when they go back and forth. I think you get some really decent character performances, but there's also mixed ones with the rest of the friend group. And yeah, so I think ultimately, you can have a. I think if you're interested in the public domain horror, I think you'll be interested. I don't know I think I would still say until if there's something more here, I would still stick with the Blood and Honey universe. I think because there's much more. I think the potential's there. They're getting to universe of Monsters Assemble. So I think that's where I'm leaning, actually staying towards, because we don't know if there's going to be any more of this. I hope. I would be really curious about a sequel because I want to see if they can improve from that. To me, that's the big thing. If you do a sequel, can you improve from what you did the first time? And the Blood and Honey filmmakers have shown, yeah, we will improve. We want to do what we would have done if we had the budget of the first one. With here, I will be curious if they're going to attempt a second. The way they set it up, it is definitely ripe for a second. But we'll see. We'll see how well it does enough to warrant it. And I'm assuming it will do enough to warrant a sequel. But we'll see if they get the budget to be able to improve on that. So, and then we got Screamboat coming out next year. So that trailer will premiere tomorrow. If you guys go see Stream, you'll see the premiere of that trailer in there. And hopefully it will release after that. I don't know if it will, but so yeah. Let me know what you guys thought of this. This is Brand. What did you guys think of Mousetrap? Did you guys love it? Did you guys like it? Did you guys were really mixed? Were you just like whatever about it? And my score would be 2.5 out of 5 because I think there's just enough, and I think there's some potential there. But yeah, there's some weak points here that probably it should be a little lower. But I'm going to be fair here, and I'll say 2.5 because I think that last shot of the scene, I think really like, oh, okay. They're not afraid to go places. They're not afraid to go there. With that ending, though there's also issues with that as well. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. This is Brandon at the Movies, signing off. Peace.